Hello, this is Adam Beanstock here. I'd just like to talk to you about this Tour Caroline piece called Loftus Jones. Tour Caroline was a blind harpist who everybody knows, who was born in Ireland in 1670 and died in 1738. And he could coincide with he was the building block for Irish traditional music, I would say, because he came in a period which was what we call the Rococo period, or the Rockeye, which was all after the new king, King Louis XV, was coronated in 1715, but only the age of 5. He was only 5, and this spread a message for not only France but most of Europe and Ireland, all over. It's very widespread. It was indication of newfound freedoms and liberty from the Baroque era previous to that. But the Baroque and the Rococo did overlap, as you know, because Bach and Handel were they definitely Baroque, were still composing into the 1720s, 30s and 40s, and you still call their music Baroque music because they stay in style. But Rococo or Rockeye, as it was a buzzword. It wasn't just about music; it was about a way of life. With a modern day analogy, say in the 1990s, we had a Russian Spring. Mikhail Gorbachev called it Glasnost Perestroika, and those two words, Russian words, were buzzwords in the same way as in those days as Rockeye and Rococo was. It was a buzzword. It was going around, and it spelled in freedom and enjoyment of music, and that is what Irish music is all about: is enjoying what you're doing, and it doesn't matter how good you are. The standard of your playing. Oh dear. Sorry, being interrupted there. The standard of playing was. There was good players, mediocre players, and not so good players, but they were able to play. They didn't feel so intimidated that there was a certain way of playing things, because the beauty of Caroline's music is there's no right and wrong way of playing it, and everyone's got their own take on it, and they can make it their own, and which is absolutely brilliant. I'd just like to capture on a little bit on the phrasing here. This is my take on it, and if you see the music here, but I was actually playing it by memory, and the best place to learn it, if you can't learn it off of another musician, which they did, play by ear. And this is how the Irish traditional music developed, was playing by ear, not having written down music. And for generations, and people were writing tunes after Caroline, the Coolies, the Dohertys, and Paddy Farley, and there was just so many other Irish traditional composers that picked up and put their tunes about, and picked up by different sessions of people playing to each other. But Caroline was the everyone came back to Caroline because because that's where it all started. And as you know, I was playing this with separate bows, and any Irish teacher, if you're learning Irish traditional music, well, if you're learning a new tune, play separate bows to learn the notes. Don't worry about slurs and bowing, and that comes later when you know to know the tune, and that should come naturally with it. Obviously, with bowing, that indicates that you're understanding the rhythm as well. But not to be confused that unlike written down music, you're not stringently looking for ups and down bow signs and that, because that's all part of musical notation. It's so yeah, we're not getting sidetracked here, are we? So yes, we're going to I'd just like to indicate this part here of the second half. So you start with this cross. It wasn't played very well, I'm afraid. But what I'm trying to do, now over exaggerated there, it's just it started, you know, you got this quite softly. Softly build up. So you can see where it builds up and comes down again. It seems to me that it's written in the music. It doesn't, you know, it's your way of interpreting it. I know other people interpret it different ways and putting slurs in things, but as this is an early example of Carol Ann's music, it's it I think it should be a separate bowing thing, really. But that's my opinion. But there's, as I say, there's different ways of playing, and the history of Loftus Jones. Apparently, of course, during the 17th, 18th centuries and the 19th century, going into the early 20th century, you had these great aristocracy of big houses where they had servants, and if one of the servants got pregnant and didn't know who the father was, and I think this is the case here, she was ashamed of her situation and hid herself in a loft until she gave birth, and luckily Carol Ann played a part in identifying the father, so it made her happy and the baby happy, and they were celebrating the birth, and that's why it's called Loftus Jones, because baby Jones, who his Christian name was born in a loft. And then, of course, to make it a bit more posh, they made it into they Latinised the word loft, because in Ireland and in the UK they would speak like a type of English or a Gaelic. It'd be a mixture of unintelligible language, because Latin and French were the only official written down languages at that time. So to make things sound acceptable, they try and Latinise it. So I hope that's given you a little bit of my thoughts on this tune, and hopefully that will give you some insight. So it's nice to see you all again, and Adam Beanstock is still raring to go, and to give you some. I'm not a teacher. I can't teach violin or anything like that, but I just love my music, and I love the history of music, and I think you should play music as it is felt. And I know I've played Bach and things like that, and Vivaldi, but you know, there's a lot. You're under a lot of pressure to play it really well, and I prefer, if you're playing, the whole beauty of playing with other musicians is the Irish music, and that's to entice people to play with you and to improve your playing that way, as opposed to trying to do everything on your own. And as I say, music's very spontaneous, and you need other people to interact with to improve your playing and enjoyment. And of course, the Rococo and the Rockeye was the beginnings of people really enjoying their music, as opposed to doing it, being highly trained and performing at courtiers, and you know, the musicians were employed like servants to please the people. I mean, they got more of a career prospects, I suppose, but this was just amateur musicians. Anybody could play for fun, and that is what Irish music is all about, and this is what the future of other genres started again. Okay, I'll close for now.